Hello and welcome to the channel. This is going to be a video on the, let me move myself a little to the side, on React Router, and let me move this all to the side, on React Router. And so basically the new React Router, there you go, the new React Router has a lot of the features of Remix, specifically kind of the way they manage data. And they're doing it with a new, if you click here on what's new, they have this data APIs. They have a complete demo in StackBlitz. I'm going to kind of walk through a demo also here, following what they have in their documentation, but kind of explaining it a little bit along the way. And then finally, once again, I'm going to wrap it in some ionic components. Check out the documentation here. I'll include the link in the bio. Also look at their demo in StackBlitz. I'm also going to work in StackBlitz too. And please make sure you like and subscribe, share with your friends, and come back and leave comments for more things you'd like to see. All right, let's hop to it. Let's move my head down. And they kind of lay out the quick start here. You need to install the, this is still in dev, it's still beta, so you need to install the React Router next to get the latest stuff. And I'm just going to kind of walk through what they're doing here to set up, and then I'll go through what I've done in the code. So you can see some of the changes are here, that you have your data browser router, which is what you're using, and you kind of wrap everything in that. And then what they have here is they have this root element, and if you look inside the root element, that is where the outlet starts. And then the two things we're going to focus on is data loading, which is you have a function called a loader. And that's, so for normally in React, we load our data in useRefs. You can now load it inside of the loader. And we'll kind of show how that all works. And then you see here how you define the loaders on the route as you're using them. And then you make a call inside your loader, and that gives you access to the data inside your actual function using a function called useLoaderData. It's not a function, a hook. And then to modify data, they have things called actions, and you go back to old school way of using the form to kind of post content and pulling data out of your form field. And very similar approach here. See, did they have it? So here they have the loader. Dun, dun, dun. Let's scroll down here. You can see how they use useLoaderData to get the data. And then here they talk about the actions. So you see here you apply both the loader and the action on the route inside your code. And so we're going to kind of go through this, but I just kind of wanted to step through the demo to show you how what we're doing is pretty much what you're doing in a demo, but I'm kind of giving commentary along the way. So let's kind of move this to the side for now. And you'll see here, I've kind of done some of the basic setup for you already. If you can see down in the bottom here, we've added the correct version of React Router DOM. I've already imported all of the ionic code that we needed. And if we start here at index.js, I have my data browser router set up. I have my kind of root path because in Ionic, you need to wrap everything inside of an Ionic app. So let's take a look at app here and see it's pretty straightforward. We're loading in all of the Ionic stuff, and then we're wrapping the outlet with Ionic app. And then let's go back to index. And then we've defined our two child routes. We have our home page, which is the index off the base. And so that's why we just say index here, and it gives us access to the home page. And then we have another route called about, just to kind of show how you can navigate back and forth between the routes. So that's what we got here. And then if we go to our home page, a lot of this is just styling to set up the Ionic framework stuff. So we get our header that we have across the top, and we have our text home, and then we have our link, and we wrap our link around our button, and the link will just move us back and forth between the pages. So if I click about, you can see it takes me to my about page. And kind of the same thing as before, and then I just click back to go back. Nothing magical here. This is what we're all used to seeing, but now let's start to use some of the new improved stuff. So first, let's just do something simple here on our, sorry about that. Let me just do something simple here on our about page to talk about how the loaders work. And so if you remember, you just add a loader here on your route. So where's my routes? They're back here in index. If I go onto my about page and I say loader, and I'm going to kind of use the approach that they're using, and we're going to call this about loader. And then we are going to go up here from our about page. We're going to say loader as about loader. And then let's go to about and come up top here. Let's do this. And we can say export loader and we're going to just make it simple. This could be any kind of data that you might want in here, and we're just going to do return date, mutate. Export loader, sorry. Unexpected token. What am I doing wrong? Export loader, return. Oh, I have an extra guy there. And I don't need that there. And function y export, sorry, const loader equals loader. Okay. Okay. What am I talking? I thought I was pressing that. All right, so now our loader should return something. And then the way it works is that, oh, am I still, sorry. There you go. All right. And then the way that the loader works is that you have this. You can say const. And then here, use loader data. And then that will give you back. And so let's import this. Okay, it's not going to do that. So we'll just go up here and say use loader. So, all right, useLoaderData, say data equals from useLoaderData. And so now I have my data that comes back and I'm passing back. Let's change this to something date. Make it that a little bit easier. So now my data is coming back. Well, let's get this build working. Where unexpected about. Oh, what happened? I lost something here. Return. Bad. Okay. So now we have the data and it's complaining it's not being used. And what we can do is just come up here and underneath about, we can just say data.date. When I go to my about page, why is it not data? About. Export const loader. So I'm exporting loader and then I go back to my index page. Loader as about loader. Loader for about page is about loader. Let's go back to my about page. And it's returning the data. And then useLoaderData should be returning my data. Oh, I'm saying data.date. It should be data.date. And let's make this toString. And And let's just put a P around this to clean it up. All right, so now I go back and I go forward. So you can see it's calling every time I jump into my About page. It's calling this loader. So like I said, normally normally we might do this in a use effect in here, but we can do it with the useLoader. So that's kind of pretty neat and a nice approach to kind of handling this. Also, all this stuff doesn't need to be in one file. I'm just doing it in one file just for the purpose of this. So you can see in this example, this is kind of how you can use loader. The other important one is the data mutations that they were talking about. And the mutations are where we're going to start to use the form post. And so let's go to our home page. And so what we want to do here is we just want to demonstrate how to use the form post. But we also want to kind of do it in an ionic way so that it's clear to folks. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a modal. And so what we'll do is we'll come in here and we're going to say const show set show equals use state. Can't type today. I'm getting a little bit of a delay, which I'm not sure what's causing that. False. And we're going to import use state. And we are then going to come inside of our content here, and right above the about, we're going to say ion modal. And then in that modal, we need ion content. And then inside of our content, let's add some padding. And then inside of here, we're going to say ion item. Come on. Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting this lag here. And then inside of my ion item, ion input, type equals text, placeholder, no text. I'll wrap this up. Is that all I need? Oh, I'm sorry, I need a name. Equals note text. And now let's get the rest of these imports in. And content. Oh, I didn't close my content. Yeah, close it. They closed that. Oh, here we go. And now let's get the last of my imports. Ion input, ion modal. All right. So, and then for our modal, we need some more space here. I was hoping that this would wrap, but for our modal here, we have a is open, and we'll set that to show. And then on here, we need an on did dismiss. And on did dismiss, we want to set show to false so that it closes. And let's go back and see how we look. So, I need a button to actually open it. So let's create a button. And we're going to call this show note. Show note. And we need an action on this, so we're going to say on click. And we're going to set true. And this will display the modal. So we're just going to cheat and steal this button. We're going to go inside of our modal, and underneath here, we're going to say cancel. And we're going to set show to false on cancel. So that will hide the modal. And let's do this. Set the color to danger, so we know that. And then let's put our other button in here, which is going to be, and we're going to remove this. We're going to do something that you don't see often. We're going to say type equals submit, and it's going to be save node. All right, and so let's show our note. There's a show our note and our cancel, so our modal's working the way we need it to work. And what do we want to do now? Let's clean this node up a bit. H1 create new node. All right, so we have our, but now the next thing is we actually want to do something with this data that's here in this node. So we are going to wrap this in a form like we used to do back in the old days. But this is going to be a special form that is coming from the router. So let's wrap this whole thing in our form. And let's set our method post. And let's import our form. So we're going to import our form from React Router. So if we come up to the top here, there's our form. And they packed a lot of magical stuff inside of that for you. And we'll see a little bit as we're doing the work, but also there's more of it in the documentation, which I'll include in the link below. And so what's going to happen is that since I'm not specifying a specific action route, when I click submit here, I need to have an action. I need to have an action inside of my component to handle that. So I'm going to say const. Let's just call it action equals. And then inside of this, I actually will get inside of this, I actually need the request object, which I will get sent. So I'll handle the request there, and then of course I need to return some data. Return, and this will be, and I'll get this with the useActionData, and so we're just going to return a success. SUCCE, SUCC, SUCCESS. And that's, if it's true, we'll return success if true, otherwise we'll return success if false. And so this action will get called when I do submit. And what I want to do is I want to get basically the fields from this form because that's what I'm going to use to create my node. And so if I come up here and I say const body equals request dot, I believe it's form data. Yeah, and this is asynchronous, so I gotta wait, do AIT, and up here I need to make this async. And so now I have a sync request, and now I get my body, and then for my body, I pull the fields off that I want, and so I need a const text, which will be body dot get, and its name down here is no text. And that's my text. And action, success, text. Let's just keep it simple. Let's just do local storage dot set item, and we're going to call this test data. And then what we're going to do is, all right, so I don't want to go through the whole process of making a database and all that other stuff, so I'm just going to store it in local storage. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the data from local storage, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to set it to the new array, to whatever's already in data, and then our new object. And we're going to use the body of the text, so text. And then we probably need an ID just to make it nice, so we'll say ID, and we'll say new, since I don't have anything, we'll just say new date, and then we'll say get time, so we'll get a unique number. Turn it to a JSON object. I don't think it's going to like me. Yeah, it does. Let's see if I can get some more space here. Success. Let me just get rid of this error because I'm trying to format this. Okay, that formatted cleaned it up a bit. Also, let's export this, so I didn't need it. So we're exporting our action. All right, so we start at the top. So we get my, so let's go down here again. When I submit my form, I click submit. It's going to call my action function. I'm going to get my form data to my body, and then I'm going to get the one field I have in there called my note text. And then what I want to do is I want to get something out of local storage. And if there's nothing there, set it to an empty array, and I get my data. This returns a string. So my hack, I'm missing something. Let's take all this out of here because it's going to be a little weird doing it this way. We're going to say new data. New data, because we're storing a string. So I'm saying JSON stringify. So put it back as a string. And then up here, we can say new data, const new data equals this. Come on. Yeah. So what we're doing is I'm getting whatever I have in the array, then because this is coming back as a string, I'm parsing it out and then getting all of the elements. And so I'm adding them to this array, and then I'm adding a new element to the array, and I'm setting it into new data. And then, because local storage wants a string, I'm going to update my test data with this new data, but I need to turn it back into a string. And I'm always going to return success is true because I know it should work, hopefully. And then the last thing that we want to do is, since we're updating this, let's make sure our loader, let's add a loader here too. Const loader equals, I don't know why this typing is going so slow. So we get our export const loader, and all we're going to do with our loader is just get the data and return it. So and then we want to return data. So that should return whatever I have in local storage as my loader data. So let's go down here, and then now let's say data, which we already saw us do inside the action, inside the about box. So now what we can do is, I'm not going to make this all pretty, so we'll just go right here above. So here's my modal, so we'll go right here below my modal. And since I'm passing, I know it's kind of confusing, but I'm passing my data back as data. So let's make it clear. Let's just call this loader data. And then we can go down here and I can do my JSON stringify loader dot data. That's the data that I'm getting back. So now let's close this out and see. Okay. Now let's see if it all worked. But I need to make sure I go back to my index and update. I need to add my loaders onto my home, my loader and my action. So here I go, and then come up here and add them. All right, what is it complaining about? Oh, I lost that. Okay. So if everything works right, so you can see now I have my component, I have my loader, I have my action. So there's loaders and action associated on my home page. There's an action on my home page because I'm actually going to do some action as opposed to just loading data, which is what we're doing on my about page. But it's complaining, so let's see what's broken. All right, so my issue was I needed to place this inside of quotes because it was trying to parse a string. And so now that I placed it inside of quotes and I refresh, everything seems to work fine. So let's clean this up a little bit. This isn't show note. This is actually add a note. So this is the button you want to click when you want to add a note. And then the other thing we want to do is on this submit when you save the note. I also need to be able to close my modal after I save the node. I think I can just get away with just doing this. So it will, when I click it, because what's going to happen is that since I'm not doing prevent default, it will save the node, but it will also close the dialog, which is, I think, exactly what I'm looking for. So let's give it a try. But let's just kind of walk back through what we're doing. So we have our form, and we set the method to post. We have our submit button. We've defined our action to take when to submit. We'll get the request. From the request, we will get the form data. From the form data, we will get the field, the input field that we want. It's named note text. We will get that string, and basically what we're doing is we're just saving it all to local storage under test data. We are getting what currently exists, adding it to the array, and then adding our new entry using a date time as a unique identifier. And then we're saving it all again, and then we're returning success is true because we're assuming that there's no errors. We could also do this so that we can't. So let's wrap this in a try catch. Make it a little more catch, and then we'll return here, error, true. So this way, if there's something goes bad, it'll throw an error. The error will come back in the, here's it. Where we see down here, we're rendering our loader data. If we have our loaded data, and what we can do is, let's do this. And so if there's some error that comes back, we'll handle the error. Clearly, there's probably a nicer way you can do it. I'm not trying to keep this video from getting too long. And so here, if there's loaded, if there's action data, dot error, then we just want to just write something out. Error, saving, note. And then we need to get our action data back here. Same way we do our useLoaderData, we can say const we can do our useActionData. Let's import this. And then let's go down here. And I think we're good. Because on success, we'll see the new object being added to the array here. So, and let's do one more thing to kind of make that a little bit better. Okay, so let's see what we get. Let's click add note. This is a test note. Let's save the note. Close our dialog. Our note appeared. Let's add another note. Let's cancel. Nothing happened. Let's add a note. Second, let's see, note. Save note. Let's force. And then now let's reload. So we'll see our loader in action. So if I completely reload the page, my loader got hit and it just loaded in all the data that was saved in local storage. So we showed a couple of things here. We showed let's go back here to the top. We showed how to set everything up. We showed our use of using loaders and actions. We just used the loader. Here we kind of combined both the loader and action. We showed how to set up the child route, set up a default index. Then if we go inside a home page, we showed how to get loader data. We showed how to get the action data back from when a specific action is done. We showed how to basically submit data to take some action on it without kind of the normal approach of using click events and all these other things. We're going back to the old school way, just doing a normal form post to get the data. We're showing how to render the data that you get back. We're showing how to send responses back. So we kind of covered a bunch of stuff here. This is just the first part. I'm working on a much more comprehensive example here. But I just wanted to get something out because I saw that I have the view one out, and I wanted to make sure that I showed React folks that there's still some love for you. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.